It's Ewoks in space.
This one is great.
Well, it's just so different. It's a totally different feel and different setting, which is great.
Just the concept of it. You've got the Empire coming in. It
Yes.
feels like it's getting connected to Star Wars again. It's called Battle for the Sunstar.
Yeah.
From... I lost my...
December 6th, 1986.
Before we talk about it, though, I've been meaning to do this for a long time, and I keep forgetting to look it up, but I was gonna let you know which episodes you can actually find on home video. Because we keep saying how you can't watch the full series anywhere, so we're kind of relying on YouTube to help us with it.
Go for it.
So, I think this is accurate. A few places online were giving me different information, but most of these episodes were actually released at some time or other. Actually, more than I thought. I was under the impression, like, maybe only a handful of them ever got put out anywhere. But most of the episodes were put out on a series of VHSs, released, like, in, I don't know, maybe a year or so after the show aired. And I think there were 3 videotapes for droids, and 6 of them for Ewoks, if you were to collect all, you know, all the different tapes. And they each had 4 episodes on them. But even then, I don't know if they were really in their complete form. I think the credits and, like, title songs maybe were cut or changed in some way.
We should find it sometime.
Yeah, I think you can probably find them online, again, somewhere online to watch.
Yeah, that's the version.
You can buy them on eBay. I was finding there's still, like, you can get them if you look, but
How expensive?
I don't know.
Expensive is the Thal Jobin collectible figure.
Was that one a lot? I can't remember.
60 to 90 bucks.
Really?
You get-
That's for the tapes?
No,
not
this
the
is for the
big
Thal
action
Jobin
figure.
action figure.
Oh, okay. All right.
Here's one with the packaging still intact for 170 bucks.
We should get one of those. That could be our mascot for our podcast.
Could we make it our mascot, or does Disney still own the rights to the Thal Jobin character?
Well, I'm sure they own
Yeah.
it. They just aren't doing anything with it.
Or maybe they're just trying to ignore it and hide it deep down.
Yeah,
so nobody
bury
knows.
Can you imagine if he shows up in one of the movies?
Be great.
Oh, I found a fun fact that Ben Burt, the sound guy, and writer on a couple of these cartoons, that had a cameo in one of the prequels, and his character's name was Baobab or something, like that was his last name.
That's great.
But the only ones that never got released anywhere that I could find were for droids, Kobe and the Star Hunters.
That's good. That one
I
was
think
not
because-
one of the strong ones, so that's okay.
They combined them into storylines, and Kobe and the Star Hunter really didn't connect.
Exactly, yeah. It was like this little thing that got tagged on at the end. For Ewoks, the 3 Lessons was never released. And Prowbeaten with the canoe and Baga's Rival. So no one was missing too much, I guess, with that. I was kind of surprised the rest of them had been on the videos. But that was VHS, like in the mid-'80s, and you can't really find those anywhere. You can buy them on DVD, but those are really edited down. They, like, took 4 episodes and condensed them into sort of a feature-length thing. I think they had 2 of each. For droids, it was the Pirates and the
Yeah.
Prince. So that had the Lost Prince, the New King, both of the
Kylo Ren
episodes. Yeah, that whole story arc. And they had another one called Treasure of the Hidden Planet, which was the Rune Stone ones, yeah, with Mungo. And Ewoks, one of them was called The Haunted Village, which included The Haunted Village, The Cries of the Trees, Rampage of the Flogs, and Sunstar versus Shadowstone. Actually, I think those all had Morag in it, so they kind of just edited it to make sort of a story out of that. And the other one is Tales from the Endor Woods, which was Wicket's Wagon, The Traveling Jindas, of all things,
Yeah.
To Save Deej, and Asha. So at
Okay.
least people can see that one.
Cool.
They added a little bit of like opening narration, I think by Mungo Baobab for the Droids DVDs.
Huh.
And opening by an older Wicket for the Ewoks.
Really? An older Wicket, you say?
Yeah, at least narrating. So I kind of want to find these and just see what they
Yeah.
have to say. Anyway, so that took me a lot of time to talk about stuff that's not really this episode, and I want to get on to the episode because it's really good.
I found this cameo by Ben Burt. He just appears in the background of a scene on Naboo
For which
Links.
movie?
We need links.
from episode 1. It's not. There's no scene. I just have a picture from the Wikipedia page, but it says his name was Eben Q3 Baobab.
Hey, there it is.
Q3, the letter and the number.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He's the author of a book.
Yeah, he's supposedly an author of a book, according to some reference book, The Rebel Files. Just came out in 2018. So
Oh, a
Oh.
real book you can get?
yeah,
Written by this guy?
no, it just mentions that character who apparently wrote a book within the Star Wars universe.
EQ3 traveled with the Baobab merchant fleet. Oh.
Again, this is what I love about Star Wars. This guy is like, you have to zoom in for like a frame of this movie to find him, and yet he has a backstory, he has an article, he wrote a book.
I mean, it's the people that just the creators of all these things just putting themselves into it or giving themselves.
Oh yeah, but
Right.
it's fun. Like I really do like that.
That's
I think
fine.
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It just allows everybody to just be part of expanding this world.
All right, good intro. Let's get on to this battle for the Sunstar.
Battle for the Sunstar.
It's not much of a battle. Ewoks just get whooped.
Should I summarize it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody wants the Sunstar, even the Empire. So some guy called Dr. Rhaegar comes in, and, well, I guess to really summarize, he steals the Sunstar very easily, and then our 4 Ewok heroes actually take a pod back to a Star Destroyer.
Yeah,
in
they're
order
on
to
the
rescue
ship.
it. Yeah, to recover the Sunstar, which they do. They foil his plans. Really exciting stuff. Nice, welcome change of pace.
Yes.
I just think it's really fun to see them, fun to see other parts of Star Wars come in again.
Oh
Yeah.
like finally.
And just being on a ship and seeing robots moving around, I felt like we were watching droids again.
I know. It was good. It was a good time. And I like how the Ewoks are like, what the heck is this stuff? Like, they
Right.
had no idea what in the world the spaceship was, how to control it. And just the way that they, like, oh, it's like a space canoe, obviously.
Right. It's a canoe.
I just think it's a fun idea to see the Ewoks interacting with other parts of the world, you know, like getting off of Endor somehow, and what are they going to make of all this stuff, and so we get to see that.
Yeah, it'd be like, what if they just like brought an Ewok like on the Millennium Falcon with them and getting into all their stuff like Crazy Yoda or something. That'd be great.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. I would love that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's do
Let's
it,
get it
guys. Yeah. Start a petition.
Let's get an Ewok.
Change.org.
Yes.
Yeah, this episode actually starts with a flyover by a Star Destroyer, which is already incredible.
It's a very Star Wars opening. They're not playing the Star Wars theme, but somehow the music feels more outer space. Not outer space. It feels like it's
a
more...
lot more like orchestral sounding, more reminiscent
Yeah,
of Star
it
Wars.
feels
score.
like the Star Wars theme.
All the music in this was a lot better.
And it pans up, and a Star Destroyer is flying over it. Just like in
It's
the
just like the movies.
This is exactly like the movies.
Yes, we see this crazy doctor guy.
Dr. Rhaegar.
He's talking with the Imperial officer on board the ship, who just kind of regards him as like crazy with all this hocus pocus, magical Sunstar stuff.
Right. Yes. Dr. Rhaegar is the one. He's obsessed with finding the Sunstar.
Kind of a mad scientist for hire.
I don't know how he heard about it. He just knew about it.
Yeah, and he knew that the Ewoks were guarding it.
Right. And this is Admiral Kaz, who's very skeptical of the whole operation. But Rhaegar says that he got approved by the Emperor himself to go on this expedition. Says he's an archaeologist. Pretty cool. He's a weird guy. He has a really weird outfit. But he's not like an Imperial. He's just working for them.
Is he human? Hard to tell.
No, his species, he is Argesdan, near human species. He has like some weird armor on, so it's hard to tell, like, maybe his head is shaped like that helmet he's wearing. I don't know. He's the only one we see. Oh man, there's actually a lot more about these guys. There's some other book that talks a lot about Dr. Rhaegar.
Okay. Sadly, Kaz is only in this episode.
Kaz, yeah.
He seemed like a cool character. Kind of like Screed, no nonsense Imperial officer.
Right. There is a character in Resistance called Kaz. Not an Imperial officer, just some kid.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway.
Dr. Rhaegar is mentioned in Knights of the Old Republic too.
What?
I never noticed. No, that's what it says as far as appearances go. Mentioned.
Well, now we gotta find that.
I am very curious what that reference is.
If it's the
It's gonna
same
be
Dr.
really
Rhaegar.
difficult to find. They'll say like, "Oh, mentioned in this." It's like they don't actually give you the quote or anything.
And it's a long game, and there's a lot of people you can talk to. One of the most interesting little bits of this, the premise here, is that the Emperor signed off on this guy's experiment to go and find the Sunstar.
Yeah, I felt it was interesting to me. Like the Empire is very reminiscent of like the Nazi regime, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Nazis were rumored to have like researched this weird occult stuff and like mysticism, and that kind of feels to me like, because the Imperial officer is like super skeptical. He doesn't even believe there is a Sunstar. This guy's like, yes, and it's super powerful. It's amazing. And I could totally see the Emperor is just sending out all these kind of expeditions and rumors of ancient, artifacts of power. He's just obsessed with all that.
Well, and like the Emperor is magic. He's right. But like most of the officers didn't really even believe in the Force or didn't take Darth Vader seriously. But so it's like the rank and file people aren't into that, but the leaders of this thing are crazy.
They are crazy.
Except in this case, they also actually do have the Force. Yeah, you're right, though. He's like looking for magic artifacts and whatnot. I think we were talking about this with one of the other episodes involving when those aliens came through that dimensional gate trying to get the Sunstar, right?
Yep.
And with that other Ewok magician as well, he has that weird Force nexus. So, just saying that
Endor is like place of power.
Yeah, Endor, the whole place, the whole moon is strong in the Force, and that doesn't enter into the movies at all. But now, after seeing all these cartoons, you could say the Emperor knew that this place was strong in the Force, and that's why they chose it as the location to build the Death Star.
Right.
To connect that somehow.
They had all this planned before they made the Ewok cartoons, and decided to use a kids show to reveal all the elaborate backstory.
It's called retconning, just a little bit here, but it's kind of fun to do that sometimes.
Sure. You want to say anything more about Rhaegar?
Maybe as we go along. He's got some little droid assistant that he kind of is a big old jerk to, and who will play a pivotal role in this story.
Right. Yes, they have this little droid that they kick around, little Wally.
PD-28.
Or PD for short.
PD.
He looks kind of like, what are those little pit droids? Doesn't he? It has that
Have
head.
you-
Yeah, like his head is more of a pit droid shape, but he's got the what kind of droid is that? I've seen that type look before, where it's like the three-wheeled. It's kind of like an old school astromech.
With feet.
Apparently he's a pilot droid. He does fly their shuttle later, so I guess he knows how to do that. And that seems to be about all he knows how to do. He kind of makes me think of that little droid in Fallen Order, the game.
Yeah.
I haven't played Fallen Order.
He's just like small and really friendly. Just kind of bounces around. Got a good heart, you know, or whatever.
Exactly.
Good motor.
Well, this whole episode has the theme that if you do kind things for others, they will do it for you too. Right?
Sure.
He's a kind droid.
So he kind of reminds me of the astromech droids in Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh, yeah, like the tripod. So they had 4.
They do have 4, but like the same kind of...
Yeah, they kind of stick forward and backward. So then we transition to the Ewoks.
Then it's like, all right, we're watching Ewoks.
Right.
Not droids.
They're trying to do their own boring episode.
Little did they know that there was a good episode just around the corner, waiting to hit them.
Yep.
What are they, feeding goober birds?
Oh, these dumb birds. What are they, gooba birds or something?
Yeah.
They give you so much exposition and names of all these things. They have some kind of very specific type of berry that they're going to feed to this type of bird.
Gooba, gooba.
Yeah, they say the name.
Yeah.
I didn't actually look up the name of these creatures because I just didn't care. But
Aren't you doing a creature anthology?
there's so many
Well-
other better things to talk about.
This is one case where I don't think you're really supposed to care. It's supposed to feel like a typical Ewoks episode is happening, and then everything gets shaken up by the Empire.
Yes. Disrupted.
This is the Ewoks' first introduction to the Empire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
according to the timeline that we think they're in.
Right, as far as we know, this is before Return of the Jedi. We should just watch the last half of Return of the Jedi after this and pretend it's like another live-action Ewoks movie
Yeah.
that some humans stumble into and they're fighting off these weird robot things.
The Ewoks strike back.
An edit that makes it seem like the Ewoks are the main character of the movie, like cut out like dialogue by other characters and stuff.
Just combine it with like Battle for Endor.
right.
I think that would be great. That'd be a lot of work, but I'd love to see it.
Right. So the after feeding the berries to these birds and getting thrown off a cliff, the Ewoks.
The birds throw them off of the nest.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to feed them.
Stupid birds.
Yeah.
They miraculously land in some bushes, so they survive, even though it was like a 500-foot drop.
Everybody always lands in bushes.
They're just
or
little fuzzballs.
They come
baskets or
across
something.
something they've never seen before. It's a little deer creature that's trapped in some glass cage. It's kind of like a little
of emotion.
yeah, but it's some sort of trap. And they haven't like seen glass before, so they don't understand. what
Yeah,
it
they're trying to
is.
get it open.
Then-
And Latara, well,
Tebow.
Tebow says he's going to do some stretches. You know, you got to stretch before you try to open this thing up. And just bumps into Latara, and she goes flying into the vacuum type entrance, like that sucks her up into the dome with this deer. So they're both in there now. And then Tebow drops this potion that goes into the dome as well. Some gas, gassing them in this container. Like,
It's
what?
like, ooh,
Some kind of magic something.
Who knows?
I don't know what it was supposed to do, but it blows up the dome
Yeah.
and they go flying out of it.
Latara inhaled something though, like she's coughing afterwards.
it's like yeah, it's not
Is
good.
that good to breathe? It seriously feels like we're just watching a normal filler episode, but there's a giant robot attacks. It's out of
Yeah,
nowhere.
suddenly comes up over the bushes
Yeah.
and grabs Tebow.
Funny. And then Dr. Rhaegar appears.
And he flies in very much like a Dr. Robotnik's
Yeah,
ship from
what I
Sonic.
thought.
Did you think that?
Yep, yep.
Yeah. Whatever
That little
that's
half
called.
circle thing. He's just sitting in it, flying it around. And later it's even more like that because he gets a little glass dome on top. Ewoks just need to curl up into balls and jump on it a few times.
It's called the flying egg. The Wikipedia page for it calls it a battlefield subjugation floaty.
Now we're talking. Gotta break out my battlefield subjugation floaty.
Floaty.
Sounds very professional.
I know.
Yeah, it was right up until it said floaty.
It's a little floaty. That's what it does.
Dr. Rhaegar is saying, don't laugh, this is a serious piece of equipment.
Right.
It shoots lasers, so you can't really argue with it. He speaks to the Ewoks, and they speak back, so
Yeah, so
apparently we all understand the same language here.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it just goes unquestioned.
well, you know, this doctor's an old archaeologist. He's probably researched a bunch of old languages and stuff.
Oh, you think he's speaking Ewok?
Maybe not Ewok, but maybe a language that the Ewoks understand. Like, what was it Yuzum? I think it was Yuzum.
They did.
That
C3PO.
supposedly 3PO is the one that spoke to them using Yuzum.
That's right. And they do talk to the people, the humans in those live action movies. So,
But he knows that they're Ewoks. He recognizes that, and he demands that they tell him where their village is. 'Cause he's looking for the Sunstar. Because he's just asked where the village is. But yeah, he's threatening to like crush Tebow, and he's got Latara in some kind of force field thing.
He's got these wicked battle droid guys with him.
Oh yeah. I guess we didn't talk about the droids yet. They're in it quite a bit. They're these huge battle droids.
Imperial reconnaissance droids, apparently.
they're like the super battle droids.
Sure. They don't look
Right.
like them, but
Not the little spindly ones, but the ones
they're
with...
pretty beefy.
These are
arms.
big Hulk and Sentry droids.
Right.
They remind me more of the Imperial Sentry droids. I think they're in Rebels. I have some models of them from Imperial Assault.
Or like the Star Hunter droids. Those were pretty big.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they had something like that, didn't they?
Yeah, they're pretty much like that. But you could make a loose connection and say that there's one of the DT series Sentry droids, a more up-armored model of it.
I'll have to take a refresher on my droid model lines.
You'll see them in
Cool.
Rebels.
Yeah, what else though? He does go back to the village.
He captures the Ewoks too, and he has the droids bring them back to his ship. Which his ship is
yeah.
pretty awesome. Wanted to mention that when we saw it here.
A little bit like the Millennium Falcon.
Kind of the flying saucer-esque. But apparently it's got a few escape pods with hyperdrives in them, which is
Yeah, I
impressive
guess
for escape pods.
we'll have to talk about that. I don't know how far they actually went. But they throw the Ewoks in a prison cell. Seems like they just leave the door wide open, but we can see that on the edges of the door frame, a little bit of wavering, which indicates a force field.
Yeah,
That's
I like
something that I would recognize right away.
Yeah, but the Ewoks had no clue because they've never seen
They've never seen that before, so they run right into the force field.
they do a good job of making the Ewoks very unfamiliar with all this stuff.
Yeah.
Which to us is very familiar Star Wars technology.
Yeah.
Because they do call his ship a flying canoe.
Yeah.
And when they're talking to that little friendly droid, he says, "You seem like a nice creature."
Right, yeah, they don't even know what he is. The little PD trying to give them food, but the big mean droids they said no food.
No food for the prisoners.
No food for the prisoners.
So he sneaks around and gives them food through this little hatch.
Yeah.
And Wicket says, "Why don't you escape with us, since you don't seem to like it here?"
What a great idea.
He's like, oh, I never thought about that. Apparently, he's not. He was captured. His owner was. No, he lost his owner, I guess, and was captured by this doctor.
Yeah, taken away from his owner, whoever that is.
We don't know.
No, we don't know. But he's determined to get back to him. And at the end of the episode, he actually leaves the planet in search of his owner.
Yeah.
Kind of cool. I want some Adventures of PD.
Yeah, seriously.
Spin-off series.
PD28. Yeah. You see them all sneaking around in the vents. It's great. Classic, Imperial corridors and stuff. The Ewoks are sneaking around.
Yeah, it's really fun just to see them in that setting.
Yeah. They definitely needed this little droid just to like help them have some idea of what's going on.
Yeah, he can explain to them how to use things. They find their way into a little escape pod.
Yep.
And the droid is trying to explain to them, well, it's like a transportation device, and you can drive it around. Latara just jumps up on the dashboard with all the buttons because she doesn't know what any of it does, and she hits the start button, and the thing goes flying.
Latar is very skeptical of the droid at first, but here's the lesson.
If you help others, they'll help you someday.
Get this long sequence of them cruising around in this shuttle, out of control. This goes on for a while.
Is some really funny shot, I thought, of just chaos going on in the background. Wicked's like hitting buttons at the moving levers at the controls. Nisa's bouncing around back there, and then Latara like
Comes up in the front of the screen, yeah, very Looney
screams
Tunes.
right into the camera.
We're
all gonna die.
Very Looney Tunes.
I thought that part was pretty good.
They almost crash into some mushroom people. I
Yeah.
actually didn't look this up either, but
Some sort of mushroom creatures. I mean, we've already seen some mushrooms that are alive. There was that one opening shot where the mushroom ate. Was it butterfly? Is that what
Right.
it was?
Sure.
the mushrooms all just like retreat into the ground or something to avoid this shuttle.
And that is all we ever see
Right.
of that species.
It's ridiculous. Some munyips they almost crash into. Like the munyips' eyes get really small. Like,
So they realize it's coming.
Scattering everywhere.
but Wicket manages to get it under control. Learns how to pilot this thing. It's pretty cool.
Quick learner.
And then, meanwhile, the whole village is getting lasered to bits by Dr. Rhaegar. He seems to be enjoying shooting at Ewoks too much. These are a very primitive species. Sure, you've got superior firepower, like whatever, like good for you.
Well, he's not a very nice guy.
I know. It's just like laughing maniacally.
Maniacal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You get a quick little shot of Asha and some other warriors trying to tackle a robot.
Yeah, it's this friend group. I had mentioned them in a previous.
Yeah.
Episode.
Paplu and Wichi?
Is it
That's Deej.
Chukatrak with them?
Oh, maybe that's Chukatrak. Paplu.
I always
No.
forget what he looks like in the cartoon. It's Asha and Paplu and somebody else.
Right, right.
Yeah. Go back and listen to our earlier episodes. You'll find it.
It's those four. It's the cool older siblings
The ones who we'd like to see more
Right.
episodes about, but we don't.
trying to fight a robot here.
They just get flung about.
Yeah, they can't do anything. Like
This
they were
robot's
launching
just-
catapults at Dr. Rhaegar, and he just lasers the rocks out of the sky and then destroyed the catapult. They don't stand a chance, obviously, but it's cool that they show it all.
It is. You get a nice sense of the strength of their technologies. The Ewoks are throwing all they've got at these people, and it's just pretty useless. But then suddenly the robot gets destroyed by Logray holding the Sunstar.
Yay!
So it, as far as like levels of or power of their technologies goes, the Sunstar kind of can blow up any of this.
Seriously, why didn't they bring out the Sunstar during the Battle of Endor? Or, I mean, I meant like the Return of the Jedi.
Return of
Jedi.
Jedi. Yeah. Well, because they hadn't made it up yet, but that would be it would have been pretty useful.
Maybe they vowed never to use it
I
again.
don't know. Who knows at that point where it was?
Well, maybe the Empire was too close to getting it this time. They didn't want to risk that.
Sure.
Put it into hiding.
Yeah, I mean, the Sunstar is the ultimate power in the universe, so
It is.
you see that very clearly here.
And he gets it too.
Yep.
And just flies away.
Grabs it with a little claw arm that comes out of the ship. Well, lasers low gray so that he falls and drops it and picks it up. Just zooms away. Then they see another attack ship coming in. Oh no, and it lands. What could it be? Opens up. It's the Ewoks in their shuttle.
Nisa's just like, oh. She's just standing there and gets greeted with a whole bunch of spears in the face, just like Han and...
Yeah, the circle of spears. Hey, watch where you're pointing that
Nisa,
thing.
what are you doing there? Lucky for them, they still have this pod here, or I mean, there's really nothing they can do at this point
yeah.
when someone's in space.
Well, right, they see Rhaegar's ship just take off and leave the atmosphere. Like, Chirpa says it's gone for good. Sunstar is gone. They're like, well, maybe not.
Still have that escape pod, and their little robot friend is gonna help them fly it back up there.
Man, I was thinking, I mean, like, at this point in the episode, I was even thinking, like, this is going to be quite a adventure for the Ewoks. Ewoks in space. That's funny.
Ewoks in
Exactly.
And of course, they come up with some excuse so that only the kid Ewoks end up actually going into space.
Yeah, they were gonna get a whole army into that pod. That would have been
That would have been great just to
I
have them
know,
land
I know.
and then just a swarm of Ewoks just come. Dengar!
Yes. Actually, that would have been really fun to see.
It is pretty silly. Latara is trying to show them how it works again, so she just jumps on the console and it starts to take off, and
Yeah, like, no, don't do it yet.
no,
Too
only
late.
the
It's only the
four
four kids, of course, and their little robot friend.
oh, yeah. And now the droid is flying. I don't know why he didn't just fly it before.
He is a pilot droid after all.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. They go up into space and I guess they didn't have the gravity turned on, so the Ewoks are just like, whoa, floating around.
Tebow's gonna throw up.
Yeah.
Yeah, they never experienced anti-gravity before. All kinds of
Yeah.
firsts for the Ewoks.
Yes, and at some point they say one of their swear words. Which one is it?
Kvark.
Kvark? Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's trying to explain what it means.
Right, the robot's like, Kvark? Like, the translator didn't catch that one. What does that mean?
Yeah, and Wicket's like, you know, just far. Like, I don't know what it means. People, you just say
Right.
it.
He does end up
Which
using it
is
later on, which
how
is great.
those kinds of words are.
Oh, right. So they land back on the Star Destroyer. The Ewoks hide in the shuttle, which it's part of their plan. The droid just gets grabbed by one of these big droids.
Admiral Kaz is like, how dare you get captured by the Ewoks, even though you managed to escape, so off to the recycler for you.
Right. And then he goes, Kvark. It's good stuff. It's funny. Genuinely a good episode, man.
Yeah, it was.
This is our reward for watching the rest of
It
it.
is. No kidding. Yeah, but the Ewoks now are free to hatch a plan, come up with a way that they got to save Petey and the Sunstar. And their plan is to dress up as droids.
It's like
My goodness.
the Great Heap all over again.
Yeah, it is.
So much for the Ewoks not knowing what robots are. They do a pretty good robot
They figured it
impression.
out quickly, yeah.
Beep,
Yeah,
beep,
they're going beep, beep,
bop.
boop. And it's very believable. The stormtroopers totally ignore them.
Yeah.
They can't see a thing in that helmet anyways.
Yeah. That's got to be the answer because the costumes are pretty bad.
Yeah,
But some
I know.
little mouse
Ears are sticking
droids
out.
going after Tebow for some
Yeah, this
reason.
is weird. Mouse droid.
I like the look of the cartoon mouse droid.
They look more like
But
mice.
yeah, it acts like a little dog, like
Yeah.
it's wagging its antenna tail at them. I don't really
Yeah,
understand.
it rubs up against him, and Latara's like, "Hey, he's with me," like all possessive of Tebow for some reason. Like, I'm so confused.
Yeah, so they split up, so Latara and Tebow go to try to steal the Sunstar back, while Wicket and Nisa go to try to rescue the droid.
Yeah, and here's Dr. Rhaegar doing his experiments with the Sunstar. He's starting to think,
Yeah, this is great.
like,
I liked it.
why should I give this back to the Emperor? What if I used it for myself? Became a new Emperor.
It's great. And so he's just like, oh, of course, genius. I'll use it to construct the most powerful weapon in the universe and then destroy the Emperor when he comes here to check out the...
Yeah. So he's actually building a gun. He's going to shoot the Emperor's shuttle down as it flies up here to dock with him. So that's pretty intense, trying to assassinate the Emperor. You imagine Return of the Jedi would have played out very differently.
Yeah.
Dr. Rhaegar.
Instead of the Emperor, it was just this Dr. Ragnar guy floating in this little capsule. Well, I have a feeling Darth Vader probably
Flying
would've
around
just,
in his egg.
Darth Vader
floaty.
probably just killed him. Floaty.
That's true. The power of the Sunstar is insignificant compared to the Force.
Well, no, I know. I was thinking, yeah. I bet the Emperor could actually deflect it or something.
Well, he probably, if his shuttle got blown up, he could have just force pulled himself through space.
Yeah, it could have
Oh,
gone
yeah,
all
yeah. You're right.
Princess
ship.
Leia and
It's a
just
normal thing.
Superman through the space. I
Yeah,
guess.
man. Maybe.
Latara and Tebow, though, they sneak into this lab and they're like, "Oh, don't mind us. We're just like cleaning droids." He says, "With the power of the Sunstar, I have no more use for droids, especially not when they're
Ewoks
actually
in
Ewoks." And
disguise.
that's such a funny line.
Oh,
Da-da!
I've seen through your clever disguise.
Exactly. They thought they could get away with that.
Yeah, some close calls here.
Yeah, so he traps them, constructs his super gun. Did he like put the Sunstar in it somehow, or is he using the power to power the gun?
I
He
think
put it in it.
Well, I think he just left it like on that stand,
Oh, okay.
but I think it is drawing power from it. But he like uses it like with telekinesis or something, like to bring all these parts to construct the gun. It's pretty cool. I like that.
maybe it would have done something against the Emperor. Like maybe he knows
Right.
just a regular gun wouldn't cut it.
I mean, it is the ultimate power in the universe.
Yeah,
To
as we've been
reiterate.
told so many times.
So, I don't know. How do we gauge this? We've seen it move moons, so that's something.
True.
But yeah, we're going to recycle PD.
They rescue him from the conveyor belt.
They knock one of the big droids on the conveyor belt instead, and he goes through the through the wood chipper. Like, it's so brutal.
Ooh.
He just gets crushed up into a little cube. Oh my goodness.
So they rescue him and they run off to rescue the other Ewoks too.
Yeah,
just in
so
time.
Dr. Rhaegar says he's gonna first test out this super gun, a ray gun.
He sent the other Ewoks out into space.
Yeah, in a
in
little
Yeah.
pod.
container.
Use him as target practice.
He's gonna blast them
Forgot he did that.
just for fun. He just likes blasting Ewoks, I think.
But he actually whips out a blaster, and it actually kind of looks like a gun.
Yeah,
It's the closest thing we've seen to a blaster gun, or blaster, whatever you want to call it. It looks kind of like a handheld barcode scanner.
right. More than a gun, but
Yeah.
that's closer to a gun than we've seen.
Rods.
Or remote
Seed gun.
controls.
Yeah. Or beam tubes.
Right.
You're
Oh my
right. It's
goodness.
not just a box. Beam tubes.
Wicket lunges at him, and he accidentally fires the gun prematurely or something. He was like waiting for the Emperor's shuttle to get closer, I guess, so he could get a better shot at it or something.
Well, he would have been aiming
Yeah, instead it
if
just
there wasn't an Ewok tackling him.
yeah. Well, I thought he was gonna shoot at the Ewoks first.
I'm not sure if he was planning on shooting the Emperor right now or as he was leaving. I don't know. But either way, he clips the Emperor's shuttle and comes that close to killing the Emperor.
Yeah, they take part of its wing off.
Yeah, this is one of the classic Star Wars Imperial shuttles.
Lambda shuttle.
Yes.
Yeah, that triangular shaped.
Admiral Kaz is on the shuttle. No, he's on the bridge of the Star Destroyer. And this guy here, it's like, they shot at the shuttle. Like, what a weird accent he had.
Someone on this ship just fired on the Emperor! What?
He's trying to do a British accent or something. It's terrible.
The Admiral is terrified. He's
Yeah.
like, we gotta
Yeah,
take
no,
care of that
right.
problem
It's
immediately.
like somebody
'cause-
just fired one of our guns on the Emperor's shuttle. Like, we are all
yeah,
dead.
the Emperor could have the whole crew killed.
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
He doesn't though.
Well, not that we see.
You don't see the Emperor. I kept kind of hoping maybe we'd get a
Cartoon Emperor.
shot
That'd
of
be
him
great.
as a
Oh,
cartoon,
yeah.
but no, just a shuttle.
Ewoks
But,
escape with the Sunstar.
Forgot to mention PD just gets blasted in the chest. with his-
Yeah.
Blaster.
Sacrificed himself. Actually, he's fine.
Yeah, totally fine.
Well, they're able to get away with it because once Wicket has the Sunstar, Nisa does it too,
Yep.
but they're able to wield it too.
Yeah,
So
can shoot
and they're
lasers out
lasering
of
right
it.
back at him.
Blows up his blaster.
They can actually fight back once they have that thing.
Oh, but it's great. So they blow up his blaster, and so he gets knocked back. And as he's running forward, the stormtroopers show up. They're like, "You were the one who shot at the Emperor."
Well, right. Yeah, they arrest him.
The Ewoks manage to make their escape with PD and the Sunstone out through their little escape pod.
Yep. And they grab Nisa and Tebow, or Latara and Tebow in the little pod with a big claw arm, because every ship has a big claw arm. So Admiral Kaz never saw the Sunstar or the Ewoks, and he thinks it's all a hoax. It's just part of Rhaegar's plan to kill the Emperor.
If I only had the Sunstar.
There never was a Sunstar. It was all part of your traitorous plot.
Yeah, it's pretty good. That was a pretty good
Yeah, I like
setup. Because when he came on board with the Sunstar, he wouldn't even show it to anybody. He wasn't trying to hide it. He was just like being kind of arrogant. Like, you know what? I don't have to even show it to you. I'm gonna give it to the Emperor in person, and I'm just gonna keep it in this box. And so this guy doesn't think there ever was such a thing.
Yeah.
And it also works because it keeps the Ewoks safe after this too, because nobody's gonna go back looking for it. They don't think there's anything there.
Hear what's gonna happen to Dr. Rhaegar. Emperor is gonna punish you.
Oh man.
Leave that up to your
Yeah,
imagination.
poor Rhaegar.
That's what you get for being an evil scientist. Let that be a lesson to all of you.
Sure, that's the true lesson of that episode.
Don't mess with the Emperor.
Yeah.
No, don't be evil.
Oh, right.
Oh, sorry. Wicket gets some more trophies for his warrior belt. It's like droid parts.
Yeah.
They're giant chunks
Yeah.
of metal scrap he's tied onto his belt. I guess it's a running gag or something. It's ridiculous.
If they kept all the things that he's been earning on his belt, like, you wouldn't even be able to see Wicket. He'd just be covered in random objects.
Well, I want to see, like, at his warrior ceremony, he's just gonna come walking onto the podium, like, dragging this big trail of junk off his belt before we wrap it up. But Nisa and Latara give Petey a kiss.
And he blushes.
Yeah, he blushes and then goes,
And
"Eat
says-
Chihuahua." So dumb.
And off he goes to do his spin-off series that we never see.
Right.
Looking for his master.
Do we ever know what happened to him?
I bet somebody knows.
No, he just left in his new pod, intending to return to his true master. Never seen again.
No one bothered to finish that story in a
I
novel.
know.
So, Star Wars authors, if you're looking for another loose story end to tie up,
Right.
there's one.
I think it's cool. Like, I'm curious, who is his master? You know, maybe it's somebody we know.
Maybe he was part of the Baobab system,
Yeah.
merchant company, you know?
I kind of thought they were going to tie it into the Droids series somehow. Like, he would name drop somebody at the end, but no.
They never did. We can imagine. Great. Man, we talked so long. It's like a feature-length movie here we are covering. But I think it deserves it. This one
Yeah.
was great.
So, I mean, I give it a yub.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's a yup.
It was great.
Was it the best episode of Ewoks? It was very different.
It was
Yes.
very different. So far, well, of all of Ewoks are saying,
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just
I have
trying
to
to
like
think
back
back
to
over.
the other ones. What I enjoy the most from this series is when it actually like ties into other things and like kind of feels like it's building on the universe. You know, so for the most part, even if it's not a bad episode, it just doesn't feel relevant most of the time.
This one might have been the most fun to watch.
Yeah.
I remember feeling like Asha was one of the highlights as far as feeling like a real Ewok Endor story.
And this one just had lots of stuff in it that was just fun to talk about.
Right, yeah, there's, again, like the Droids episodes, it feels like suddenly we can tie everything together a little bit more.
Great.
We're almost done. We've got one last episode, which sucks that we couldn't end on a high note, but
We could have flipped these around like we said last time, but
I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
This can be the highlight, and then you just get a little epilogue.
we'll wrap it up with some classic Ewok comedy for you guys. Party Ewok and Milani the Warrior.
Well, Party Ewok. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah. That should be the final episode. Like how they end Return of the Jedi. That's what I want to see, this entire episode of Ewok Party.
Oh, just a party?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
they could do that. It would be, there are episodes of TV shows where they'll do something like that, where you just get to see everyone having fun, but, like, you cut to different characters and see what they're all up to.
Yeah, just to wrap things up in a really satisfying way. We'll find out.
All right, so we'll see you then.
Bye.